now it's time to move on to our next speaker. What do I say about this guy? As much as I get to know about him, I keep getting impressed. He is the managing director at GEM with MIT and Harvard in the list of his alma maters. He has led teams in the medical equipment and technology industries in the US, Singapore, UAE, in addition to Pakistan. With that, he's also a human behavior consultant. And if you want to know about hacking your professional growth, lend your ears to him. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Kamran Kiyani.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Could you put that up, please? Okay, assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm let me just get the volume right. I'm very thankful to Umair for setting the stage. This morning, we're talking about the individual's part of transformation. Then after the two of us, the next speakers will talk about the team's part, and towards the afternoon, you'll get to see the organization's part. So first of all, the first slide, please. First slide. Let me try to find out how many years of experience the folks in this room have. How many of you have at least 20 years of work experience? Can I see a show of hands? So that's probably about 10% of the room, okay. So let's say between 15 and 20 years? Okay, 10 and 15 years? Okay, and 5 and 10? Less than 5? Okay, so the bell curve tips, the peak of the bell curve is probably between 10 and 15 years. That's where the majority of the people in this room are. Your career, of course, starts as soon as you get into your job, but planning for your career and the manner in which you're able to have an impact on your career does not end until you retire. So regardless of whether you have 5 years of experience or 20 years of experience, what I'm going to talk to you about today with regards to hacking your career growth or professional growth is going to be relevant. What do you understand from the term hacking? Hack, to hack something. What does that mean to you? To take control of something or? Cheat. Okay, sure, cheat. Hack, literally the word hack comes from, thank you very much. Yeah, so literally the word hack, to hack something, comes from taking an axe and breaking something, right? You hack something. And the term is used today in technology to describe hacking into a secure computer system. Are we together so far? Okay. Recently, though, the term hack or hacking something has been used to describe doing something faster than others so that you would beat others to the game. And that's the context in which I'm using the term, hacking your career growth. You see, many speakers today will talk to you about how technology is changing the way we work and how you need to keep learning to stay relevant throughout your career. But the other thing that technology is doing, and my background is technology and I work in the technology arena. Can I get somebody's help with this, please? So the other thing that technology is doing is it is making it possible for companies to scrutinize your contribution to the company. So we work on products which, for example, use video cameras to analyze the amount of time you spend at your desk and the amount of time you spend going around the office. We analyze the emails, the number of emails you send out and what the content of those emails is. So we're able to really tell how much contribution you're having on the company. And if companies are able to do that, and if companies are able to analyze the sort of value you're driving for the company, then it makes it easier for them to make one of the two decisions, whether to reward you or to punish you, whether to promote you or potentially to lay you off. That decision could potentially also be having some small technical problems. Yep, okay. It could potentially land you in a job like this one. How many of you would want this guy's job? So that's an example of the sort of a job in a company that you don't want. We ran a study where we try to find out what people at different stages in their careers look for. So Umair just did this exercise with you. Let me show you the data. So we know that, next slide please. We know that we are interested in certain things as an outcome of our career. अगर हम कहीं काम करते हैं, किसी job के अंदर, हमारी उससे expectation होती है we would get something out of it. So what are some of the things you are interested in a job, from a job? So you want satisfaction. What else? Oh, so progress throughout. You're progressively improving, going up in the hierarchy. What else? Sorry? Talent. Challenge. Oh, so it should be challenging to you, and perfection, achieving perfection. What else? Impact. You want to have impact on the organization, on the people around you. You want to have influence. Aur kuch? You want to be able to contribute to the company. Aur kuch? Change. You want yourself to change? Oh, thank you. You want yourself to change or the organization to change? Okay, you want to be able to change the organization. There was another one here. Respect. You want to be able to get respect out of it, you said? Sorry? Excellence. So similar to perfection, you want to be able to achieve excellence in your work. Aur kuch? Sorry? You want diversity. So I'm asking about you. जब आपकी 5 साल, 10 साल, 15 साल, 20 साल गुजर जाएंगे, what do you want out of it? You want diversity out of it. Okay. What else? Engagement. Okay, with the organization. All right. A sense of success. So none of you really mentioned money. Is that something you want out of your job? Do you want the amount of money that you get in 20 years to be more than the amount of money you get today? Is that a safe assumption for me to make? Okay, so you're saying that's a hygiene factor, so it's there anyway. Okay, good. Good. So we made a list of the factors that people in organizations told us that they're concerned about. They want these 5 things. They want income, they want satisfaction, they want impact, which covers some of the things that we mentioned here. They want some free time. They want their stress level to be managed. So out of these, we want income to be high or low? High, over a period of time. Abhi hum time 0 ki baat kare, t equals 0. This is where we are today. And now we're going to track it over the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, depending on the sort of choices we make. So today, the income might be here. On the horizontal scale is 0 to 100%. 100% is what you could potentially achieve over a 20-year career, starting now, regardless of where you're starting. Okay? Now, do we want the satisfaction to be high or low? High. Do we want the impact, influence to be high or low? High. Do we want free time to be high or low? High. We want to have more free time, right? Do we want stress level to be high or low? Low, correct. With these objectives in mind, this is your situation today, and if you don't consciously take control and make choices that you know will have a desired impact, if you just coast along, and by the way, that's what most people do, most people just coast along, let things happen to me. If that is the case with you, this is what your situation is likely to look like 5 years from now. Your income will have gone up a little bit. Your satisfaction might have gone down a little bit. Your impact will be either the same or might have improved a little bit. Your free time will have gone down just slightly, and your stress level will have increased. This is 5 years from now. Let's fast forward. This is how it will look like 10 years from now. Do you notice the changes? Yes, your income has gone up. Maybe you're in a managerial position now. Maybe you're in a director level position now. Perhaps you're a CXO now. I don't know, depending on where you are today. But in 10 years, you will see your satisfaction go up because now I'm able to have more impact on the organization. Impact goes up, free time goes down, and stress level goes up further. This is what it looks like 15 years later. And this is what it potentially looks like 20 years later. This is if you don't consciously take control of the direction in which your career is heading. This is the outcome of apparently not making a choice, but actually not making a choice is a choice. And this, compare this with this. The ones in the blue are what it could potentially look like if you were to make conscious choices. My message here is, most people do not make conscious choices about their career. If they could, this is what things would look like. Do you think this is desirable? High income, You want high satisfaction, high impact, a lot of free time 20 years later, and low stress level. This is desirable, right? This is what we would like to have. So why is it that most people are not able to do it? It could potentially be, I don't know the answer to that question, but it could be because people don't know what they need to do, what sort of choices to make. And over the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to talk to you about your choices. I'm going to talk to you about the decisions you could make. I'm going to talk to you about some tips and tricks and hacks that you can take away with you and start implementing. The first 5 years will be hard, but beyond that, you will start seeing the fruits of your labor. Are we clear about this? Any questions so far? No? Okay, good. Now, we, as part of our work, we do some psychometric testing for organizations, and we analyze people at different levels. So we, for example, would analyze the people who are coming in to be considered for a job, candidates. And then we also analyze people who have been working with the company for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And we started noticing some very interesting patterns. कि जब लोग एक पोजीशन के लिए कैंडिडेट बन के आते हैं उनमें और 10-15 साल से कंपनी में काम कर रहे होते हैं उनमें क्या फ़र्क होता है. So we started noticing some patterns. And then we started asking companies, can you tell us, ये जितने लोगों को हमने analyze किया है आपके employees के अंदर से, who among these is a good employee that you would like to set as a role model for every candidate that you hire? So we started comparing the ideal employee with the candidates. And we started noticing some patterns in their personality, in their cognitive traits, in their neuropsychological traits, which stand out, which are clearly distinguishing them from everyone else. I hope मैं थोड़ा सा background build कर रहा हूँ data के लिए कि ये data हमें क्या बता रहा है. इससे हमें ये पता चल रहा है कि अगर कोई किसी कंपनी के अंदर एक कामयाब एम्प्लॉई है, उसका पर्सनैलिटी प्रोफाइल कैसा है, उसका कॉग्निटिव और न्यूरोसाइकोलॉजिकल प्रोफाइल कैसा है, और एक आदमी जो है कि जॉब के लिए कंसिडर होने के लिए आ रहा है, उसमें और उस कामयाब आदमी में क्या फ़र्क है. हमें 3 फ़र्क नज़र आए. मेरे पास चूँकि टाइम कम है तो मैं इस वक्त आपको सिर्फ हाईलाइट कर दूंगा. Eventually in the Q&A session, if you want, I can go into more details. So the first thing we noticed was कि कामयाब एम्प्लॉइज़ के पास एक pillar skill होती है. Pillar skill, something which is the bread and butter of the company. They consciously try and become very good at that, so that they become indispensable for the company. I will talk more about that in just a minute. This is one. The second thing that we noticed about them was that these are very competitive people. They try to one-up other people. अगर उन्हें नजर आए कि उन जैसा कोई और शख्स अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहा है, they try to perform even better than that person and then try to get themselves noticed. The third thing that we discovered was that these people have audacity. Audacity is the Urdu word for that would be bebaki. This expression of confidence. Sorry? Boldness, yeah, that's right, boldness. So they have this boldness about them. We noticed these 3 things. And then we started working with these people hand in hand to try to figure out कि ये कैसे लोग हैं, किसकी बात हो रही है, कौन हैं जो इतने यूनिक लोग हैं, इनके रोज़मर्रा बिहेवियर्स में क्या चीज़ें हैं जिनसे इनकी pillar skill, competitiveness और audacity नज़र आती है. So I'm going to share with you those tips and tricks here. First of all, let's talk about pillar skill. Your organization does something. It earns money in a certain way. So your organization might be selling pillows, or it might be selling power, or it might be selling peanuts, or it might be selling peas. Regardless of what your organization sells, it has a certain way of making money. That's the bread and butter of the company. How many of you feel you have a deep, solid understanding of your employer's business model? How many of you feel that? It's probably half the room. Okay, that's very good. That's very good. And if you do, it's good that you do. And if you don't, I'm glad that you recognize that you don't yet, because now you can learn. It's important, regardless कि आप HR में काम कर रहे हैं, या finance में काम कर रहे हैं, या marketing में, या operations में, या manufacturing में, does not matter कि आप कहाँ पे काम कर रहे हैं. What matters is whether you understand कि आपके काम का आपकी पूरी कंपनी के business model से क्या ताल्लुक है. आप क्या कर सकते हैं so that you would help the company improve revenue, or you would help the company reduce cost. That connection has to be clear in your mind as you make your choices every day, because that is your pillar skill. A simple tool for this is the business model canvas. And I'm sharing this with you because Suhail mentioned to me that it's important that I share tools that you can take away with you. So नीचे मैंने source भी mention किया हुआ है. This is Business Model Generation. It's a book by Alex Osterwalder. How many of you are familiar with the canvas? How many of you have seen this canvas before? Oh, I'm surprised. Okay, very few people. Okay, so I'll walk you through this very quickly. I'll walk you through this. This is a way for you to plot the various elements of your company. आपकी कंपनी कैसे काम करती है. तो आपको बिल्कुल राइट हैंड साइड पे नजर आ रहे हैं कस्टमर्स. आपको अपने कस्टमर्स की कितनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है. उसके बाद आपको एक एरो नजर आ रहा है जिस पे हार्ट बना हुआ है. दैट इंडिकेट्स कि आपकी कंपनी अपने कस्टमर्स के साथ ताल्लुकात कैसे बिल्ड करती है. हाउ डू यू फाइंड कस्टमर्स, हाउ डू यू रिटेन कस्टमर्स, हाउ डू यू मेक श्योर दोस कस्टमर्स कीप कमिंग बैक. नीचे जो आपको ट्रक नजर आ रहा है, दिस इज हाउ योर प्रोडक्ट इज डिलीवर्ड टू द कस्टमर. उसके साथ जहाँ पे वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन वो गिफ्ट रैप के सूरत में आपको एक चीज़ नजर आ रही है. दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई योर कस्टमर्स बाय योर प्रोडक्ट. Why? Notice, जितने भी मैं सवाल पूछ रहा हूँ, सबका पहला लफ्ज़ है why. I keep asking the question why. It's important that you highlight this word, why. उसके बाद, why does your company, वो key activities के नीचे, why does your company keep doing the things that you do? Why is it that you do it this way? Why not another way? उसके बिल्कुल नीचे is key resources. Why do you have the sort of resources you have? Why these people? Why these buildings or machines or systems? Why? उसके बाद बिल्कुल एक्सट्रीम लेफ्ट के ऊपर की पार्टनर्स. व्हाई डू यू हैव दीज पार्टनर्स, व्हाई नॉट अदर पार्टनरशिप्स. एट द बॉटम आर टू बिग बॉक्सेस. एक के ऊपर कैश मशीन बनी हुई है. दैट इंडिकेट्स द रेवेन्यू योर कंपनी इज गेटिंग. सो व्हाई डू वी मेक रेवेन्यू ओनली दिस वे, व्हाई नॉट अनदर वे. और उसके बाद लेफ्ट हैंड साइड के ऊपर कॉस्ट्स. व्हाई डज इट कॉस्ट अस दिस मच एंड why is it that we cannot reduce our costs? So these are the questions that we ask. ये canvas है. There's a lot of information available on this online. If you were to just search for business model canvas, you will find videos and you will find this template as well. This is a tool that I recommend that you use to understand your company's overall business model, because that will have an impact on your job. But that's just the starting point. Every time someone starts building themselves up, चाहे वो कोई artisan हो या वो एक business professional हो, they go through 3 stages. These are 3 stages that are recognized. चाहे कोई शायर हो, चाहे CEO हो. In order to become really good at something, we all go through 3 stages. The first stage is that of a professional. This is where you demonstrate intellectual curiosity. You ask questions. Notice किस किस्म के सवाल नीचे आपको नजर आ रहे हैं? Why? That's the sort of question you would ask in the professional stage. But remember, that's just the beginning. Once you start asking why, you begin to discover how the whole system works. And you move to the second stage, which is apprentice. Apprentice को उर्दू में क्या कहते हैं? शागिर्द. Very good. इसको हम शागिर्द कहते हैं. So a शागिर्द would definitely have an ustad, right? A शागिर्द would have an ustad. So you would have to look for an ustad, and that ustad might vary depending on what you're trying to learn in the company. You'd have to look for an ustad. Let's just, for the lack of a better word, let's just call that person a mentor. So you find that ustad and you start spending time with that ustad. Notice that the nature of your questions changes. Now you're observing the ustad. Now you're asking the sort of questions, what is this ustad doing? This guy's much better than me in, let's say, compensation and benefits. Or this person is much better than me in, I don't know, in accounting or in marketing. Really, really good. What is this person doing? You observe that. And then the second question you ask is, how is this person doing it? पहले में हम सवाल पूछ रहे थे पहली स्टेज में, why? अब हम क्या पूछ रहे हैं? What and how? And then that will eventually lead you after a few years into the third stage, which is the stage of a master, where you exceed the mentor, where you start performing better than the mentor, which by the way makes many mentors very jealous. That's just a reality we have to recognize. A lot of mentors do not like to, sometimes bosses do that too, they don't like to let their subordinates escape their shadow. But becoming a master would mean that you start doing it better than your mentor, and notice that your question has also changed. Now you're asking, how else could it be done? Okay, my master, my mentor did it this way, I was an apprentice then, but now I'm a master. How else can I do it? How else could I do it so it would be done better? And the only way I can ask those questions intelligently is if I see how the whole thing works. Remember the business model canvas I just discussed? You need to have the overall picture. तो अभी तक मैंने आपसे बात की है उन 3 चीज़ों में से पहली चीज़ की, which is pillar skill. This is your pillar skill. This is something that sets people apart from everyone else. Pillar skill. I'm going to move on to my second one, which is competitiveness. I said people who do well in companies are competitive, which means they compete with other people. They recognize that organizational hierarchy looks like tell me, what does it look like? Pyramid. It looks like a pyramid. So what's the shape of a pyramid? It's like a triangle, right? What does that mean? That's right. The higher up you go, the fewer open slots there are. And the fewer slots higher up in the organization, if you want to compete for those, you have to do better than other people. And what does doing better than other people mean? What does that mean? You have to be competitive, and you have to get other people to recognize that you are adding more value to the organization. Are you with me? This is competitiveness, and people who move up the organization have that competitiveness. They are comfortable with seeking power, and they're comfortable with having power. I recognize, I accept that this sounds very, how shall I put it? I'm trying to think of a politically correct term for this. This sounds very cutthroat. But that's the reality of the corporate world. And I know that we hope for a different kind of world, but until that world is available, this is the one we have to contend with. So the tips that I'm sharing with you are for this world. The corporate organizations that you and I work in, they are answerable to shareholders, and shareholders want maximization of profit. And maximization of profit is possible when people in the organization are trying to do better than each other in contributing to the bottom line. So I hope you'll forgive me for being cutthroat. So this is competitiveness. So how do you become competitive, and how do you get people to recognize that you are competitive? How do you get organizations, the senior management of the organization to recognize that you're competitive? Every company has initiatives, corporate initiatives that are going on all the time. It may be a cost-cutting initiative. It may be a customer-focused initiative. It may be an employee engagement initiative. It may be a business process re-engineering initiative. It may be sustainability. How many of you have heard of these terms in your company? You have, right? Okay, so every company has these initiatives going on all the time? Okay, so here's the trick. Regardless of what's happening in your organization at that time, jump on the bandwagon and let everyone know I'm on it. Whatever your CEO announces in the official email or speech or whatever the CEO does, the CEO says, this is what I think we'll be focusing on for the next year. Well, for the next year, you have to believe in that initiative. That's how your organization will begin to recognize that this person has the potential to rise to a high level in the organization. Now, you may not like that. You may say, this is contrived, or you may say, I'm uncomfortable with that, or you might say, I'm awkward stepping into that sort of a role where I'm doing whatever my CEO asks me to do. And that's fine, but then perhaps you should not be competing, because this is what competition requires. I think a lot of people are going to hate me by the time I end this. Yeah, so this is the real world. That's right. So I'm talking about the way it works. I'm talking about getting your organization to accept that you are worth something to the organization. Here's another simple tool, simple sort of tool. We can continue this discussion afterwards. I'm conscious of the time. This tool is called IOI. It's a very, very simple technique. हर हफ्ते के आखिर में जुमेरात को दोपहर को 3:30 पर अपने बॉस को एक ईमेल भेजिए जिसमें 4 या 5 बुलेट पॉइंट्स होंगे. उन 4 या 5 बुलेट पॉइंट्स में ये लिखा होगा कि इस हफ्ते में मैंने क्या किया. सिंपल बुलेट पॉइंट्स जिनका ताल्लुक हो सकता है इस चीज़ से कि मैंने KPIs मेंटेन की, मैंने इस प्रोजेक्ट में इतनी प्रोग्रेस की, मैंने फुलां के साथ मिलकर कुछ काम करना था, मैंने ये किया, या कोई और प्रोग्रेस अपडेट. वेरी सिंपल. हर हफ्ते जुमेरात को 3:30 बजे, चाहे 3:35 हो जाए, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. यू गेट द पिक्चर. a few things will happen. These are called IOIs. IOI stands for items of interest. What this does is, throughout the year as you're doing this, your boss is receiving this and you're getting a weekly opportunity to have this discussion with your boss. Your boss might turn around and say, oh, पिछले हफ्ते ये हुआ था, इस हफ्ते तुमने ये किया है, what's going on? At the end of the year, when it comes time for you to do a performance appraisal with your boss has a record and you have a record for your boss to communicate this to his boss, which, by the way, is the real decision maker. That person is a real decision maker for you to be promoted. Simple, but you have to be regular. IOIs. This is what competition is manifested as. Are you with me? Make sense? Okay, let's move on to the third and last one, which is audacity. Audacity, as I mentioned earlier, is boldness or bebaki, which means the willingness to take risks which other people perhaps would not be willing to take. Calculated risks. People who have this sort of audacity, I'll give you a few examples very quickly. So I had a colleague who was made responsible in our organization for developing new products. And the company had a standard way of developing products. There's a process you follow. It takes about 9 to 10 months to come up with a new product. So my colleague realized that our competitor has already launched a product, and if he goes through that 9-month process, it is unlikely that we will have any opportunity in the market. So he had to do something drastic. But compliance, he has to follow the 9-month process. He took a calculated risk. He thought about it. He discussed it with some of his colleagues, some of us, and finally he decided he's going to skip some steps in the 9-month process. He launched the product in 3 months. We captured a significant portion of the market. Afterwards, people celebrated. Nobody remembered that he skipped some steps. Remember, these were steps that he skipped after discussing, having a discussion with people. But he took a calculated risk. What would have been the safer thing to do? It would have been safer if he had continued with the 9-month process, and after that, the company would not capture the market, and he could turn around and say, sir, wo 9 mahine ka process hai, main uske bare mein kya kar sakta hu? That would have been the safer thing to do. But he chose not to do the safer thing. He chose to do the riskier thing, and that became a star in his career, and he became a senior partner with the organization. Very young guy. That is the potential of audacity. Sometimes you have to take calculated risks. So those calculated risks can come in the form of moves that you make on a chessboard. So the person you see sitting on the right is a young guy. His name is Magnus Carlsen. He has been the chess champion of the world for the past 6 years straight. He is playing a blitz game. Blitz game chess में वो होती है जो कि 3 मिनट के अंदर खेली जाती है. जल्दी से खेलते हैं. So he's playing a blitz game with another chess champion who's obviously much older and much more experienced than him. Again, I don't have time to go through the video, and I encourage you to do it on your own. You will notice as he makes those moves, he's thinking, but he doesn't spend a lot of time thinking. He makes a calculated guess about what's going to work, and he moves. And in the end, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But what matters is what his track record looks like. This is Magnus Carlsen's track record. The wins are in blue and the losses are in red. You win some, you lose some. Well, which ones are more? He's won more than he has lost. Especially the blitz games at the bottom, he has won more than he has lost. That is what your career looks like. Your career is a chessboard. You will be making moves all the way through your career. Each time you make a career move, which could be, let's say, in the form of volunteering yourself for a risky project, or finding out that your boss wants something done and nobody wants to do it, and you stand up and say, I'll do it. Make sure it's an intelligent, calculated guess as to whether it's going to work. And if it looks like it's probably going to work, but you're going to have to put some extra effort in, it's good to risk it. That single project will not determine whether you're successful, but your track record will. People who move up that pyramid all the way to the top are the ones whose track record shows significantly more wins than losses, and you get better at it over time. I've shared with you 3 areas in which the most successful people in an organization distinguish themselves from the rest, which were pillar skill, competitiveness, and Audacity. And in each of these, I shared with you 2 simple tips and techniques. I'm going to give you the summary on this slide. If you want to take a picture of any slide, this is the slide you should take a picture of, because this is a summary of whatever I discussed with you. And finally, the writing is on the wall. Your growth starts where your comfort zone ends. We are comfortable with a very value-based, a very kind, a very generous image of the corporate world. That image is not accurate. You have to make a choice as to what you want to do in your corporate career. The map is available for you to use. Thank you very much.